But, oh well, let's give it a go. See if that works at all. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll soon find out. Good evening everyone, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday the 12th of November 2022. It still scares me the fact that it's actually November, getting closer and closer to Christmas every single week. Well, obviously it would do, because that is the passage of time. Just a, Bob's saying, oh no, lag. Is there lag? Is the sound out? Sound level on my end is low. About 3 seconds again. Massive audio delay. Oh, for God's sake, what is wrong with this thing? Oh my lord. Right. Settings. Video, 30 frames per second. Audio outputs, where are we? Yes. Good quality. Let's say medium quality, apply. Right, has that made any difference whatsoever? Why is the audio delay bad? It's just one of those things. It just happens. It's one of those things. Rec 8 says the audio is fine now. Nope. Says Rick, Welly Bob. Getting a sound delay in Las Vegas. Oh dear. Try hitting it. I'm waiting for the Chinese dubbing. Half a second delay. Just a second behind. Out of sync. Okay, let's try that again then. I hate... Actually is... Yeah, there's only one OBS window going. Why has it started doing that? Let's go into settings again. And output, and let's say low quality. Apply, and there we go. Is that any better? Ugly Bob says just done a screen refresh. Is it okay now? Am I still out of sync? I don't understand how it can be out of sync, being that the audio is going through the camera. William Hobbs, no, 2 seconds out. Right. Hold the line. Right, let's see if that works now. That might be better, I don't know. Is that any better now? No sync? Rick H says I've been a few seconds out of my life. Is it okay now? Nope, still 2 seconds. My PC is rubbish. I don't get how it can do that. Yeah, because when I speak in there, it looks like... Actually, that looks a little bit out. Confused. Oh, I know. I think I did this last time. Because I am in, oh crap, wrong one. Where are we? Audio version. Record quality. And so second one from the top. 1080p 60, full frame. Right. Is that any better? Ugly Bob says, wasn't it OBS update last week? Yes, it was. Any better? 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't know. Nope. Need to restart OBS. Why does OBS do this every single... Right, let's see if that is any better. Storyboards. Could do some storyboards. Is that better? That's good. Jackpot. Working fine. Why does it do that? So there's some weird bug now. So if I set up OBS and leave it so I'm ready to stream, it's rubbish. But then I restart OBS and it's fine. I don't know. Rick H says that, or I need to stop smoking the devil's lettuce. Oh dear. Excellent stuff. Right. Hopefully if the audio's okay, we're all good. We will continue. Hopefully you're all... Fan and Bob says those are the 3 fastest claps I've ever seen. Well, hopefully it's all okay now. We good? John Sullivan says better now. Better I can live with. Better is as good as anything. Thanks to those of you who've sent super chats in already. I should address those. I haven't said anything as of yet, so let's have a look. Who do they come from? I think one of them was Mick Wood. Mick Woods says, thanks for the info on the RTX 3060 Ti. Bought one in the week, loving it. Still a great value for money card, it really is. I'm not sure, has the video gone out for that yet? It might have done to members and patrons, I'm not too sure. But yeah, we've got a video coming out on the 3060 Ti. Great value for money card, really, in comparison with what is on the market at the moment. Although, depending if you need things like NVENC encoding and some of the other NVIDIA things. RTX being obviously something to do with it as well. There are other options on the market, clearly. Was there another super chat from somebody else? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, I can't see anything. But thank you all so much. Thank you to, well, sort of thanks to all of you. Ugly Bob sent me the this DisplayPort cable, which appears to be faulty, I'm afraid, Bob, so I'm going to need a returns label for Amazon for that one. For some reason I plugged it in and I was getting all kinds of weird corruption on the screen. I put the old cable in, which is basically the same brand, and it seems fine. I don't know whether someone else might be able to tell me, is 5 meters too long for a DisplayPort cable? I don't know. It seems okay in terms of, I've used 5 meter HDMI cables and kind of basically it's the same sort of thing. But yeah, for some reason it was giving some really weird artifacts on the screen, so I couldn't use that one, Bob. I'm afraid, sorry. Nice one, Bob. Also, massive thanks out to William Bodie. Sent us a little, what do you call it?
Care package.
Care package, thank you, Kath. With some super long screwdrivers, and so I've had to put them into my cupboard over there. They are super long. I'll be able to do up the garden fence from here, sat down. They're super long, and a load of chocolates, which actually I've had too many of today already. And yeah, a bit sugared up, so yes. Thank you very much for that. There's some cool stuff in there. Another blanket for the cat, and some blue themed, actually there's one of them there. There is the a phone stand in unboxing blue. Good stuff. Ah dear. William Bodie's, no matter how deep the hole is, you will always be able to screw it now. Why does it sound wrong in English? Did not sound wrong in German or Danish. That's English for you. It has a habit of making... Oh God. My foot has just lowered my stool. Speaking of stools, I would love to be able to get in here my my other chair, which I'm going to just get a minute. For those of you that didn't watch the video, actually I might be able to sit in it briefly. Let's see if I can get it in there, so to speak. This hole may be too big. That does sound wrong. Oh, I can just about squeeze her in. So this is the Noble Chairs, the new Legend, which has come out this week. Well, come out a little while ago, but the embargo was only Thursday. And this is actually a supremely... Actually, I might even... yeah, I should actually use it. It's actually really comfortable. Although getting in and out of my desk is extremely... problematic.
Get rid of this.
Yeah, go and get rid of that little stool.
Right, my way.
I'll probably have to have it sideways on, so if I need to move and get anything, I can actually get out of the chair. It is very cramped in here. It's a very small room. And for those of you that watched the video with the review of this chair, you'll probably notice that this desk and basically everything that's here was moved out of the room just to do the video. So yeah, it's been one of those weeks. It's been hard work, hard graft. I'm absolutely knackered, I'll be honest with you. It's been a very long week. We've done more videos than usual. I've even got my jammies on. Look, got me joggers on. Luckily I didn't have a boner then, so that's pretty handy. Never good to have a boner on air. Nick Barnes says the room looked massive on video. That is the beauty of a 20mm lens on a full frame camera. It's tiny. Literally, I can... Well, it's very small. I can even touch the walls from here, look. That's how small it is. I can actually touch the walls. Anyway, Ugly Bob says that's one handsome chair. Yeah, and it's just got one pig ugly mofo sat in it. I shouldn't say that about myself, really. But I have seen myself in the mornings and it's not a pretty sight. Anyway, moving on. Thank you. William Bodie says, is it that cold in the UK? Did it turn small and blue? Yes, very much. It's actually quite warm today. Bizarrely, the weekend, this weather's been excellent. It's been pretty sunny all day. Clouds, no clouds really, and it's been blue skies. It's been, yeah, it's about... It's 22.7 degrees Celsius currently in this room. Humidity is at 69 nice percent, which is not great. This house is damp. Moist, some would say, which is not great. I'd love to get the humidity down to about 50 because it does feel a bit hot and a bit, sweaty.
Like that, doesn't it, in a few minutes?
Anyway, right, so today's stream we are obviously going to be doing a £400 give or take. I want to say gaming PC, but it's not really a gaming PC. It's got all the things that make a gaming PC, such as RGB lighting and all that kind of stuff. The processor is only a 5600G. Now, if any of you have used the 5600G, you'll know that it isn't quite the powerhouse that you'd like it to be. Although it does play games if you're happy with 720p or 1080p low settings, or with some FSR scaling, that kind of stuff, then it's absolutely fine. You can play your things like your CSGOs, your Valorants, Fortnite, I'm trying to think of other games, Rocket League, obviously, that sort of stuff. Even some things like some of the older stuff like Tomb Raider you can get away with doing if you put the settings down a little bit. So potentially you can play games on it. We've got to the point now where if you think only a few short months ago, building a PC that you could actually play games on for about £400 was the thing of dreams. The 5600G itself, the processor, this time last year, in fact, well, actually October last year, so a little bit before, about 13 months ago, not long after it had come out, that was selling on Amazon for about £240. I know that because I bought one. So that was not a good thing. Whereas now you can pick it up for somewhere in the region of about 125. There have been some special deals on this week from pretty much all of the main players here in the UK. So eBay's had discounts going on, CCL have got one this weekend, box.co.uk have also got some vouchers. Some of you have probably had those emailed to you this week. Scan have just been Scan as per usual, being ridiculously overpriced on pretty much everything apart from a couple of key items. So yeah, there's been some pretty good deals around, and if you haven't seen it already, there is a PC part picker listing, which I'm going to try and find. It is on this screen somewhere. So yes, there it is. Let's go over to desktop screen. Hopefully that is, oh, God's sake. I am such a moron. Window capture. And there we are. PC Builder, is that the one? Yes, that should be it. There we go. Excellent. That's because I restarted the PC, or restarted Chrome. So there you go. That is the PC part picker list. Let's allow that. The URL is at the top there, and actually, I wonder if I can put that into chat. So let's copy that. We'll paste that into the chat. The links will be in the video description also. So if you want to purchase any of those items and you want to help us out, then you can definitely use our links. Mike from Ultimate Tech Hub says, when you say £400, I think of the weight. Just a stupid American here. That is a cheap PC. It is cheap. And it seems the 5600G is pretty much cheap everywhere at the moment. And also the 5600, which is the better version if you have got the access to a GPU or can afford a GPU, is about the same price. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, quick rundown of the parts we've got here. So we've got the AMD Ryzen 5 5600G. Currently Scan are the cheapest, unbelievably. 125.99. This doesn't take into account some of the discounts that are available at the moment. So CCL have got like a 20% off voucher, I think, at the moment, like I said. Tech Next Day, I think, was actually cheaper, about 122. So PC part picker is a little bit out.
Barn says, is it in or is there an echo? Because I can't hear it.
There might be an echo if you've got Discord open, possibly. If anyone's getting an echo.
Mine sounds alright.
Kieran Atkinson says, I hear the robot vacuum hoovering downstairs. It looks like it got a little face.
I want to see pics of the bird on it.
Yeah, Kath wants pics.
Put a bird on it.
So anyway, that's the processor. At the moment, Amazon.co.uk, it says there £138. It isn't. It's, if you click on the link, it will drop down. Let's accept the cookies, so it is 129. So don't always take PC Part Picker at face value. £129. So if you do want to use Amazon, you can do, and also still get a pretty decent price. You pay a couple of quid extra, but nice and easy returns, all that kind of good stuff that we like. So that is the processor we're going to be using. Cooler wise, we're going to be using the ID Cooling SE214XT. We were actually sent the non-RGB version of this, but unfortunately it had the Intel mounting brackets, and that was from, Kath's going to remind me now, who sent the cooler and those other bits? You said Tech Legend. Legend Edge, sorry. Sent some bits and pieces, but we've used that cooler and we're quite impressed with it, so we're going to go with that again. Stick that in this little build. We're going with Bob's ASUS Prime B550 M-K micro ATX board. This is actually perfect for this particular setup because we don't have any addressable RGB outputs on this particular board. So the case has absolutely tons of them. So that is going to be very useful, make life a little bit easier. And it's actually one of the cheaper boards on the market at the moment on the B550 platform. Although our processor won't take advantage of PCI Express Gen 4 because it's only Gen 3 links on it because it is a G series. So some of the links and technology has been kind of, let's say, neutered a little bit. RAM wise, I've just listed in here something which was cheap and cheerful. We're going to use something a little bit different, but Kingston Fury Beast at the moment, 16 gigs is a pretty decent price, under 50 quid. It's CCL with shipping and handling. You may find it a little bit cheaper. At the moment, realistically, trying to buy stuff is pointless because there's going to be Black Friday, so things are going to drop a little bit. You may see a little price bump beforehand, but still, you get the general idea of what it's about. We've listed here Patriot Burst. At the time, that was like one of the cheapest ones. We're actually using the Integral, the V-Series, the V2, the V480. But again, similar sort of price. 480 gigs, I think, is about right. You don't really want anything too much smaller than that these days. I think it's you're kind of cutting yourself short there because you're only going to end up putting another drive in at some point. 240, I think, is too small these days. Gamemax Mini is the case we're going to be using, so you've probably seen this from the short we did a little bit earlier. This is a mental little case. I do like the infinity look on the front. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and most people will want to be violently ill when they see it. But actually, for a low TTP system, we don't need an absolute ton of airflow. It does seem to want to breathe a little bit, and we're going to stick a bunch of fans in, which Gamemax have sent us as well. So yeah, that's a pretty cool little case. Around about £50. Of course, you can get cheaper cases. There's always offers. There was one today actually, which was the, oh, what was it? I'm trying to think. It was about £20. Very, very cheap cases. You can pick up some bargains, but Gamemax sent us this one. I wanted to review it anyway, and it fits the bill because obviously built-in addressable RGB where our motherboard has none. So that's awesome. Power supply, keeping things cheap and cheerful, although not here because obviously it's saying there that the cheapest one is £71, which is absolute bullspit. This is the CX 450 watt, 80 plus bronze. I picked this up for about £25, and no doubt you'll be able to at some point. They do kind of fluctuate. If you can't get one of these, you can pick up a decent 450 watt from Be Quiet or something like that for about £30. That is what I'd be looking at. So our total price realistically is under 400. Now we could obviously tweak that a little bit, get a cheaper case, maybe a 20 quid case, maybe even Gamemax's own Trooper or the Commando for about 30. That would bring it down another 20. You could remove the cooler, use the stock one. You could do this for 350 relatively easily. So anyway, that is the bits and pieces we'll be using in this particular review, not review, the build. My brain doesn't work very well at all. Right, back to the main camera. So yeah, that is what we're using. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to go through the build. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. I've got my big monitor here so I can keep an eye on what's going on. Michael Craig says, wow, my spelling has some kind of disease. Sorry guys, I'll be sure to word correctly in future. I'd like to see what you've seen before. Doesn't want about... Yeah, I can see what you mean. Silicon Lottery. I can see what you've gone there. Okay, Atypical Mail says Silicon Power Memory is dirt cheap for 16 gigs, 3200. I was looking at some Silicon Power memory to see what the deal was there, and there was some options. I'm trying to do it so that in the listings, it's kind of listings where people can get it pretty much everywhere. Sometimes the Silicon Power RAM is lightly limited stock. If you go with like Corsair and some of the other brands, especially Kingston, that sort of stuff, it's generally quite easy to find no matter where you are in the world. I think that is pretty much it. So we should start getting and assembling this bad boy because time is moving on. I was saying that 20 minutes as an intro, that's not too bad. And for me, that's pretty good actually, considering we had technical issues. So let's grab the bits. All right. Bless me.
Technical issues.
Technical issues, yeah, we have technical issues. Actually, if I give you that cable, because no doubt Bob's gonna send the doodah, we can get that done. I'm gonna have a slurp of tea. Bit of tea AMSR, ASMR, whatever the hell it is. I do love this chair. It's way too big for this room, but it is extremely comfortable. So processor, like we said, 5600G, that's got its own cooler. We could use that, I suppose, but we're going to go with that one. There is our drive integral. That is the V-Series 450. I can't believe how much they've come down in price. Like this was, I didn't mention the price, did I? 27 quid I paid for that. Happy days. We've got our V-Color RAM we're going to be using. I am going to order some other RAM over the weekend to finish this off properly, but I figured for now we'll get that in there just to make sure that everything's okay. And also massive shout out again to Ugly Bob for sending this motherboard over. I've actually now got a genuine, actual, decent use for it, which is always nice. Get our I/O shield because we are going to be needing that. I don't know why I'm closing this box because I'm going to end up launching everything in there in a minute. So, where do we... Actually, I want the box, don't I, to put the motherboard on. What was I thinking? I would have liked to have gone with an M.2 with this, but unfortunately, there weren't any M.2s that, at the time of purchase, made a lot of sense. I did want to put in one of those Kingston NV2 drives. They're actually really good. I'm very, very pleased with those. A lot of people have had issues with Kingston, the original NV1 drives. But the new NV2's got a really good controller on there, so even though it's not got the fastest read and write speeds, even though it is a Gen 4 x4 drive, it's got the IOPS. So the kind of the little bits and pieces that go on in the background of Windows, those tiny little file transfers, it absolutely pisses through those. So it's really good drive in terms of the feel of the system. It feels nice and quick, nice and nippy. Deathstroke says, send me the chair if it's too big. If it wasn't for the fact it would probably cost me about 200 quid to send it, I'd be tempted. No, I wouldn't. I want it. It feels weird not putting an M.2 drive on here. It really does. It's like that muscle memory where you're so used to doing it. I'm guaranteed to forget to plug in the SATA connections. Anyway, let's get a CPU installed. Let's have a knife. He's got a knife! It's been a long time since I've had a G-series processor again. I've still got the 2200G running in the little media center PC, which is in the front room. And that thing basically gets very, very little action. Doesn't get turned on really. Mind you, electricity prices these days is absolutely madness. Hopefully you guys can see that on the overhead. There is our processor, nice and shiny and brand spanking new. I should check the pins already, but I think they'll be absolutely fine up until the point that I actually drop them. So I'm going to put our processor in, that plopped into place, lower our retention arm. Obviously we're not going to be using the stock cooler, so I can put that to one side for now. Not going to be needing any, actually, don't need that blister pack either, do I? Old Man Withers says, never underestimate the number of crazy people around.
Especially by the full moon.
Have you actually been to Downend? That's the village that we live in. I don't know. Is it a village? I suppose it is, isn't it? Right, where?
Smart city.
It's yeah, in the smart city that is Bristol. Oops, someone's pinging. Who's pinging? Who's pinging? Eh?
It's mine.
Ah. Let's draw cock and balls.
But Robert, what would we want?
Ah. I don't mind. Where's my spreader? Oh, there it is from last time. Ugh, my spreader has got congealed goo on it from last time, so let's clean that bad boy up. Oh, where's my bloody blue roll gone? Oh, there it is. Always make sure you got some blue roll and some isopropyl alcohol for the cleaning of these things. Yeah.
Do a long walk.
Yeah. Oh, don't need any alcohol for that. That's good. So now we're going to spread the paste. This is the bit that triggers a lot of people, so I'm going to zoom right in on it, or at least try to. You never know, it might even focus on it. Has it focused? No. Has it? Hell. Did I turn off autofocus? Come on, focus, you piece of crap. I'm going to have to manually focus. I hate manual focus. That's not focusing at all. Am I in AF mode? Yeah, autofocus continual. Right. Let's see if we can narrow that down. Smaller. And set. Why is that not focusing on that? Let's see if I've got to do the order. Oh, there we go. Silly camera. I should change it really. Anyway, so we're going to spread our thermal paste. Please,
Need to lick it off.
please do shout at me in the comments if you think this is a bad thing to do.
You don't need to spread it. More chance of leaking onto the board. Good job you have ISO alcohol.
Yeah.
I can't say it all.
I think that's a pretty good application. Nice bit of coverage on there. Joe says, bad! Michael Craig's making loud, angry noises. Well, good luck with those. Might someone doesn't come along and think you're a crazy person and try and lock you up. Right then, let's get the brackets off. I should have used the William Bodis screwdriver, although the camera's probably in the way for that. It would probably hit the ceiling. Atypical Mail says Amazon sells those heatsinks, but I prefer the MSI Pro series. They use decent VRM and come with heatsinks. Yeah, those little heatsinks are pretty cool. Surprisingly, actually, that video of the heatsinks has been one of the channel highlights recently. It's actually in the top 10 of videos over the last couple of weeks. It's strange what people seem to be interested in. Rick H says, I see you have heat spreaders on the VRMs. Yes, that's absolutely right. Where did I put the box? Oh, I'm on top of it. Well done. Just checking to make sure that you're actually listening. So let's zoom that out a bit. Is it still in focus? Yeah, so why does it focus then, but it won't focus close up?
Kieran?
I hate this camera. Kieran. Well, I can't see. Kieran. Tell Mike to check out the Seasonic Connect. It's great for cases like ours. I put mine in today and it's amazing. Can't even hear it. Oh, okay. That's the new type of power supply, isn't it? The Seasonic Connect. So cooling wise, we're going with the, you've probably seen it before, the SE214 XT. There's a reasonably good price on Amazon, about 20 quid, which actually it performs pretty well. If you haven't seen the video yet, then, well actually you won't, because if you're not a member or a patron, you probably wouldn't have done. But yeah, it's a pretty decent little cooler.
The lady says, are you going to show the screwdrivers?
Maybe a little fence with Lady Kath. I don't think Kath would like to be on the stream, but you never know. No, she says no. I'll get them out in a bit. I'll actually have to fish them out because they are so long. I had to. Actually, I don't think I'm going to get the camera wide enough. Remind me a little bit later. Right, this is something I don't like about this particular cooler, and that is the mounting mechanism. So you have to put these little doohickeys over there. Then pick up your mounting bracket with screws facing up, and then kind of just lightly place it over the top, kind of roughly in position. Obviously, if you do this in an upright position, you've got absolutely feckle chance of getting it to go in. And then drop a screw down through each one of those holes. Yeah, if you do this in the upright position, you are literally, yeah, no hope whatsoever. And one of these little plastic, oh, balls. Yeah, you can see I'm struggling now just with it like this. I suppose you could. Yeah, this one is not been made very well, and the hole in the middle is not great. So I suppose you could actually put it on there. If you're doing this in an upright position, you could do that, screw them up a little bit, and then kind of slot that down and kind of in. That might be a way around it. Do those up a couple, a little bit of hand tightness.
Alexa's going to brew some dandelion tea.
Oh, cool. Yeah, dandelion tea is alright. Andy93 says, seems like a bot. Who's that? Who's a bot? Everyone's a bot. Right, so I'm going to do these up a little bit tighter, not all the way. Just so they're cinched up a little. I should have done a poll to see who of you is actually still on Twitter. Do you actually care? Do you actually even have a Twitter account?
What's Twitter?
Twitter is for the tweeting of information.
That you're allowed to say.
So we're going to put the cooler on. These have got a little bit of a swoop to them. So you want the swoop towards the back to give your RAM a bit more clearance. So just drop that over the top of the pins. And that's is that in position? No. There we go. You can actually see it better on the screen up there than what I can here. And then I'm going to do a couple of little turns there. The mirrors are getting warmer in here.
You.
Okay. Get hot flushes at my age. There we go. So a couple of turns on each side, and then we're going to do the screwdriver thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4 stuff.
Is the only difference between the 5600 and 5600G integrated graphics?
No, the 5600G is a PCI Express Gen 3 processor, whereas the 5600X is a PCI Express Gen 4. So because of some of the PCI Express lanes being dedicated to the GPU on the G series, you've got less lanes to deal with, so they've had to downgrade what they actually are in terms of speed. I'm not too sure why the reason is. I guess no, actually I'm not even gonna consider why that might be. This is a troublesome bit, trying to get the actual fan on, because it's got these bloody horrible clips. Yes, Kath?
Andy93.
Anyone suggest a good chair? Mine's a bit creaky. Baby's been waking up by the noise. The Boolish chair is very good. I could wholeheartedly recommend the Boolish chair, or obviously the Noble chair if you don't mind spending a few quid. I would say between the two, well, it's hard to say actually, because
How much is the
the Boulez chair was a similar sort of price, maybe a little bit cheaper, but it is a fabric chair rather than being leather. They do it in leather as well, or PU sort of leather. I would say in terms of comfort, they're very, very similar. There's not a huge amount between the two.
Or cotton wool for the baby's ears, a load cheaper, ugly Bob.
Yeah, buy some Bluetooth headphones for the baby. Actually, no, don't do Bluetooth because Bluetooth's bad. We might as well stick that in there. And actually, I might as well cable manage that up a little bit because that is something which is going to be annoying later. So let's get on and do that. So actually, how tidy can I make that? Probably make it quite tidy. So I'm going to fold over those, just cinch them up. Hopefully, can you actually see that? Yeah, you can. Cool. I've done some settings on the camera. Hopefully, it looks a bit brighter now. I haven't heard anyone say it's too dark, so something's clearly worked. Jer says, okay, cheers. I'm aiming to get a 5600, but want to know if the G would be okay. The G series really, you should only really consider if you don't have enough money for a graphics card, or you're not planning to get a graphics card in the foreseeable future. There is definitely a performance hit if you go with the G series, if you're looking for all-out performance. If you're not entirely bothered about benchmarking and all that kind of stuff, and sort of willy-waggling with your mates to see who's got the fastest PC, there isn't really a great deal of difference in it. The only thing is going to be, if you decide to go for a PCI Express Gen 4 graphics card at some point, then yes, there will be some slight limitation, but it's not going to be huge. There is also more cache actually on the 5600 than there is on the G, and also the 5600X has more cache as well. Both of those are PCI Express Gen 4, whereas this is only a Gen 3. Right, so that is our CPU cooler installed at long last. Let's get some RAM installed. So we got our usual suspects. Let's get that out of the way. So we've got some Prism Pro from V-Color. We've got the extra fill-in modules as well, which we don't necessarily need, but I figured I'll put them in there anyway. Ugly Bob's coming with a super chat there. If I can find my mouse. Mrs. Bob wants to do it in the back of a car. Trouble is, she wants me to drive. Kath like that. That tickled Kath's senses. Try and do this in la darkness.
When's the ID cooling video going out? It's out to Patreons.
Yeah, ID cooling video is out currently to patrons.
Might be next week, maybe the week after.
If you do want to help support the channel, you can join Patreon. You do get early access to videos, and actually it's relatively inexpensive. What's the minimum at the moment? It's like £2 or something, I think. So if you're maybe thinking of supporting us on YouTube, but you don't want to pay the YouTube prices or YouTube tax, you can support us on Patreon, and you'll get early access to videos, and it will be cheaper, and we basically get to keep like 90% of the money rather than the, what was it, 55% I think it is of YouTube. It's actually going down. Bastards. Now I'm surprised nobody has mentioned in the chat so far about a BIOS update. No one has mentioned that at all. And I have actually looked into it. This board, luckily actually ASUS have done a really cool thing, and they've actually put the manufacturer's date on the motherboard, actually on the box. So assuming all things are equal and that the actual motherboard inside the box is actually the one that's supposed to come with the box, this motherboard was produced on the 11th month of 2021. Now the 5600G came out towards May, June of 2021, and they had a BIOS release very shortly after that, so it should be absolutely fine. Just having a slurp, sorry. So there we go. Absolutely tons of clearance for the RAM there. You can, well, yeah, of course you can see that. There is an absolute, yeah, loads. Very impressed how much clearance there is for RAM there. So I think we can, yeah, I think we can pretty much say we're done there. So I'm going to chuck all the unnecessaries back into our box of tricks here. And I'm definitely going to sneeze. Told you.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. Gesundheit, as they say. Or something along those lines. Right, that can go in there. Actually, there's nothing else that can go in the box, is there? Oh, that bit. That can go in. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Make sure whenever you change your cooler, stick your old bits in the motherboard bag and keep it just in case you ever need to return it.
Deathstroke
Deathstroke
and Kieran.
and Kieran. Deathstroke says you've got 4 sticks of RAM. It's only 2 sticks of RAM. 2 of them are fillers. Matthew asked the same question as well. So yeah, they're just fillers to give you extra RGB. They aren't actually DRAM. They are just yeah, filler sticks to make the build look nice. If that's your thing.
Kieran and Ira Wolfman.
Kieran and Ari Wolfman. What's Kieran saying? Kieran, let Mike know the BIOS on the board I sent him is fully up to date. Posts with 4 times 3200 megahertz RAM. Funny enough, actually, Kieran, the board I did actually do a flash video on anyway, because I wasn't sure which version was on there, and I thought, well, rather than ask, I'll just put a BIOS on there anyway, because it's well, basically it's content.
Ira Wolfman.
Ari Wolfman. What's Ari Wolfman saying? I was encouraged yesterday and was surprised to see a PC build. Oh.
Or down. That's 2 under Kieran's.
Kieran's. Oh yeah. At Kath, so when Mike is doing a 4080 build, seen as most tubers think it's so affordable, sarcasm, yeah. Not going to happen. I cannot see any reason to actually do a 4080 build. It just seems to be ridiculous, really. It's nice if you can afford it, and I guess there is a market for it. It's one of those things that, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me. I've never felt that being at that sort of peak performance level is something which I really would enjoy, because ultimately I'm always going to be thinking at the back of my mind how much it's cost me to get to that particular point. And if you're getting to a point where your PC habit, let's say, has got to it where you're dreading your monthly credit card bill coming in.
Here I am. Thanks.
Multiple effects are not being given.
That wire.
Yeah, if you're kind of concerned when your bill comes in for your credit card because your PC buying is getting out of hand, or you're thinking that maybe you can't afford some food or electricity or heating, whatever, because you've bought too much PC stuff, then clearly you've got issues and you should have a word with yourself and not spend so much money, because there isn't any point. The whole point of enjoying a PC, in my opinion, is the fact that you can use excess cash, or cash that you would otherwise not be using on other important things, for your hobby. Why get into debt? I don't know. Some people do, some people like it, and they want it right now. Absolutely fine. And to be honest with you, I probably would myself many years ago, but I've kind of learned the hard way that getting into debt and having credit and stuff like that, especially if it starts costing you, it is a spiral and it gets out of control. So for me, the kind of the budget stuff, or the stuff I can actually afford, is super enjoyable because it's not hurting my bank balance. I'm not laying awake at night thinking, oh God, the next bill's come in. Like we all do to some extent. You never know what's going to happen with the economy and stuff. But if you're overspending on PC parts just because you want to have a better graphics card than your mates or whatever, I don't know. Is it an enjoyable experience to brag for a couple of days until the next really cool thing comes out? I don't know. I don't think so personally. But what I think doesn't matter, does it? I say this time and time again, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's down to the individual. Do what you want to do. I do my thing, you do your thing. Speaking of which, this is the Gamemax Abyss Mini. This thing is mental, it really is. I'm not entirely sure if they priced it right. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's worth 50 quid. If you like the look of it, there isn't a lot of options on the market. It's either this, the Abyss, the full-size one, which is even dearer. There's not many cases which have got that kind of psychedelic, trippy stuff going on the front. So if you like the look of it,
Don't have me in the
here's
reflection.
Here's what I found.
Oh,
Siri, go yourself. Right, I need to get rid of these panels somewhere now. Sorry.
should I put them on there? Put them on the back of here, yeah.
Yeah, got him. Let's take the
You
side
need
panel
that
off.
bit of tissue.
No. The case itself, this is a new feature which is not on the other version of the case. We've now got the swing out gull wing door. And a nice thing which I like is the fact they haven't riveted it, they've used screws. So we've got screws on the back and on the side, so if it doesn't meet up, which panel gaps, on any swivel, it's super difficult to do. So you do on this, you have to lift it up a little bit to get it to fit onto the rubber bungs. I have mentioned that in the review, because it is a fit and finish issue, so if you can't just close the door, which is a shame because Colink with their Citadel mesh managed to do it, where it just goes and it attaches by magnets, whereas this you have to have a little bit of a, give it a lift and fit it into position. You could spend a little while with the screws and stuff and make it fit, but yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, let's take it off. There you are, Kath. Oh, actually, I'll stick it there. I think I leaned too far then and I pulled a muscle in my chest. I have actually got chest muscles. They're just really, really well hidden. Anyway.
4 says Amazon shows not available in US. I think that's Bristol, US.
Is it Bristol in the US? Awesome. It will be around. I've been in, well, Gamemax, I've said this before, so for those of you that are new here, I'll say it again. Gamemax is a weird company because Gamemax.com is the big kind of Asia and US marketing side of it. Other countries around the world, sort of, you've got Gamemax Spain, Gamemax UK, etc., etc. They are all sub-companies. So they basically buy the licensing agreement to sell Gamemax products. So not everything which is available from Gamemax.com is available all around the world. And in fact, Gamemax UK, because of the kind of import costs, etc., generally they don't keep a great deal of inventory and a lot of different models. Gamemax.com do hundreds of models. There's so many types of things they do. Loads of coolers, loads of power supplies, loads of fans, etc. Whereas Gamemax UK are kind of like a little bit more picky and they look for things which sell. They get a case in. If it sells well, they get a load more. If it doesn't, they basically discontinue it. So we do get a little bit less of an opportunity to get the products. Something they actually sent me, which I haven't got here at the moment, which I'm going to have to grab. They have sent a bunch of fans as well. They're new, well, they're not really that new, but the Rainbow Mirage fans. They actually sent over 5 of them, because this case does hold 6 fans. Clearly we don't need 6 fans in here, but we probably will need some additional cooling. So I'm not too sure whether to put a couple in the top. I think that's going to be a given, putting a couple in the top anyway. But I'm not too sure about the front, whether to put 2 in the front or not. There is one included in the back, which is a ridiculously bright fan. So that's going to illuminate a lot of stuff. So we don't really need to do anything with the one on the back. But I do feel that we need some inside as well. These are at the moment about £3.50 on places like Amazon. If you want them on Amazon, actually, the single price is about £7. But they do a pack of 3 for £3 something each. So if you do want 3 of them, 10 quid, you can get yourself a set of fans. Only slight difference is the fan on the back, it's got clear blades. These come with either white or black blades, but they are super, super quiet, ridiculously quiet. I've done a separate review on these as well, which will be coming out very shortly. Some of you that are patrons, you might get it Monday, if it hasn't gone out already.
Maybe.
Not sure, might have done.
It
Hasn't gone already, but yeah, it will be available very shortly. They are 3-pin DC controlled, and they've got Molexes, which most people absolutely hate. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really like them myself. But what I have found is with the voltage control, it does work particularly well. So you can actually get these down to about 300 RPM. Whereas with most PWM fans these days, you're lucky if you get them down as low as kind of 800, 600 on some fans. So even though you buy a PWM fan, you're not always guaranteed that it's going to be quiet, because the minimum RPM for the PWM range is actually still quite high. So for me, these actually make a lot of sense. And you've also got a little bit of rim light, and also they've got a ring on the front as well. So yeah, a bit pointless putting it in the back, I think, because of that rim light, and that's a little bit brighter. So I think we're definitely going to put these in the top, which will make a bit more sense. So let's go ahead and stick some of these in. Not too sure about putting them in the top, in the front. I'm thinking negative air pressure might suit this case a little bit better. Stick those cables through, get them through. The case actually comes with its own hub as well. So you can just connect up all that stuff. You don't have to worry about having a ton of fan connectors on your motherboard or addressable RGB, because it's all on the back, which we'll see shortly. Let's give you an overhead. I think that's going to be almost in focus. And actually I can't see a darn thing. Let's get out this chair. I knew it was a bad idea to put the chair in here. So let's see, I want those to be a little bit more over, I think. About halfway across there. Yeah, I think these will just give an extra little lift to it. Is that actually visible? Yeah. Yeah, it'll do. David Unreal says, I live 150 kilometers from the nearest shop. Holy shit. That's, what's that, like, that's about 90 miles, is it? Bloody hell. Cool, you can tell these are new fans. The threads are a little bit on the tight side. Oh, David Hunter's PC shop, fair enough. As I say, if you're that far away from shops, geez, that can't be much fun if you run out of eggs. Speaking of which, today went into our local cooperative shop. This is like in the UK, some of you may know it. There's a shop called Co-op, the Cooperative. I think they probably got them around the world. It's basically like it's a relatively coolish shop. They normally try and do like fair trade deals and stuff like that, and it's sometimes a little bit more expensive, but it's kind of responsibly sourced, I suppose, some of it, maybe, I don't know. But there's a funny thing in there today, because at the moment in the United Kingdom, there's this thing called avian flu, which is affecting poultry, obviously, and they've had to cull an absolute ton of birds because of the avian flu pandemic. And there was an empty shelf that had basically no eggs, but it had on every single part of the on every single part of the shelf, it had a sticker or an A4 leaflet printed out, rather than just one for the whole thing. They printed out a whole bunch of them, saying, sorry, eggs are not available due to avian flu. And literally in the next aisle where the fresh chickens are, they've got more fresh chickens than I've ever seen.
Which you commented on before you saw the egg bit.
And I said before I seen the eggs, like, shit, they've got a lot of bloody meat in today. Normally those shelves are pretty empty, but they actually had more chickens in stock
So it must only affect the
than
eggs,
I've ever
not
seen.
the chickens.
So it doesn't affect the eggs, it just affects the chickens.
No, the other way around.
Yeah, avian flu affects the eggs, not the chickens. What the hell's wrong with that?
Our eyes can tell us anyway.
I would piss myself. Literally, it's like, go into one aisle, no eggs because avian flu, and then the next aisle, there's as many birds as I've seen anywhere. Oh dear. You couldn't make it up. Well, you could. Oh dear. That's some funny shit.
Are the top fans set to exhaust?
The top fans are set to exhaust, yes. Thanks for the super chat there, Disco, Disco, Disco. From, who was that? Was that Willy Bob? Stuart Cleary, sorry.
Why did I not put?
Thank you, Mr. Cleary.
I didn't even put that.
Muchas gracias. There we go. So, yeah, hopefully you guys are all having a good weekend so far. Actually, out of interest, let us know in the chat where you're actually watching from. I'm very interested to see where we're pulling in viewers from these days. Hello, Kev2427. How you doing, buddy? Scott Tate as well. How you doing? Says, well, you know what happened to the chickens, yeah. But then normally they set fire to them. They don't sell them in a bag with some stuffing stuffed at their backside. D French is in his bedroom. Good choice. I'm not sure how I feel about being in your bedroom. David's from England. Frank Buttles in from Newcastle.
Kev's in the toilet.
Scott's from Glasgow. Old Man Withers is in London, London Village. John Sullivan's in Wembley. Dutch Jan is in, what's that, Ried, Ems, Germany. Ugly Bob's in Washington. Michael Craig is in Glasgow again. Surrey is for Joe. Aletta is in Southeast Ohio, USA. Who won the midterms in Ohio? I haven't been following it that closely. I'm guessing it's gone Republican, but I do not know for sure. Nick Barnes in Humberside. Andy's in Kolkata, India.
Hello, Pops.
Hello, India. Nick Barnes, Humberside said that, I think. ClickTech Kev's with us. Where's Kev?
In the toilet.
Kev's in the toilet. Kev, are you ill? You only come in the streams or the Discord when you're ill. Hey, Poppy Dora. Say hello to the ladies and gentlemen, Pops. Poppy is the official helper of the Mike's Unboxing channel. Just inspecting my work.
What do you reckon, Pops?
Do you reckon we good? You like the front panel? Lots of RGB?
Oh, my back glass.
Good, good.
You're going to jump on my back.
Mookie MC's in Eastern Ohio. David Andels in Clifton. William Bode's in Flensburg, Germany. Mark Berry is in Swanage. Aletta says I don't follow politics. Good choice. Nicholas Barlow's in Delaware. Who else? Ireland is everywhere. Tristan G's in Seattle. Van Halen Bob's in Cape Town, South Africa. I can almost say it. I'm not very good at accents, as you probably guessed. I can't even do my own. Anyway, here we go. Let's go back to the main camera. What's that? ClickTech Kev says he's sick of missing the stream. Lol. Oh, bless you. Nick Barnes says Republican one, JD Vance. Never heard of him.
We've missed his humour.
Yeah. Ugly Bob says that was the best Welsh accent. I can do a Welsh accent, believe it or not. I did spend a little bit of time over in the in God's country.
And Welly Bob.
Welly Bob is, where's Welly Bob? Welly Bob is in, no, I can't remember. There's too many places to remember. Northampton.
Lord Erectus is in a shoebox.
Lord Erectus is in a box. He's living in a box. Living in a cardboard box.
I'm thinking that Justin Timberlake song.
Got a dick in a box.
Because it is Lord Erectus.
I'm going to put the IO shield in.
Vlad's in Bath.
Vlad is in Bath.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's pretty nearby. This don't want to fit, he says, jamming it in regardless. This is why that fits nice and tight. Don't want to rip my fingers to pieces, and I think that is in good. That's not going anywhere.
West Ham got wrecked today.
Got wrecked. Oh dear. Scott Tate says, what's a good Wi-Fi card for that Prime B550? Not too sure, really. Prime Wi-Fi cards are always a little bit of a thing. Sorry, I'm reading Bob's comments there. Oh dear. Wi-Fi cards. I personally quite like USB ones, but they need to be on an extension cable, so they're away from the PC. Internal cards, you generally end up spending quite a lot of money to get a decent one.
Did you see number 3?
I did see number 3. Bob. You'll make Kath blush. She won't. Bath or bath?
We're commoners.
Mookie says the backplate would look so much better in black when in a black case.
But you got my
I am tempted to agree with you there, I think. Something else which I think you guys will all agree with as well, that Molex has no place in a modern PC. So, yeah, they're gone. I'm not having Molex in my PC. Now, there's going to be some of you screaming out there saying, Mike, you should have repinned it, etc, etc. And yes, you're probably absolutely right. But, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not repinning it for the sake of that. I might do it at a later date. Right, I've got to do some cable management here. So, Poppy, can you, which one shall I do first? Which one? I didn't hear you. Pops?
She thinks the fans.
Just perch there. Like, imagine if this was some professional outlet and like it was the news broadcast or something, and then the Poppy just came in and just plonked herself down. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Right, let's put a drive into here. So I'm going to need my accessories bag, and we will chuck this in here. Don't want to alarm anybody, but do you know how many weeks it is until Christmas? I know we shouldn't use the C word on the show, but
Talking of the C word,
it is what it is.
wouldn't see this feline shenanigans on the C word.
It's like Holzman.
Yeah.
It's actually quite funny. Some of you may know there is a YouTuber, the name of Mr. Kerry Holzman, who's been a professional computer engineer, whatever, for over 30 years, believe it or not. And we have a little bit of fun poking fun at him.
Oh, I could just eat that.
And the other week I mentioned in the stream that I actually commented on a video accidentally, really, just because I'm sure I was banned from his channel anyway for previous misdemeanors during live streams. And I commented, and he commented, and it actually went onto the website, onto YouTube. And he replied and everything, and it's like, oh, that's cool, can't argue with that. So he was doing another live stream, and his live streams tend to be roughly when I'm about to go to bed, so it's kind of like, oh, I'll see what he's up to, see what's going on, see what's new, see what the deal is. And he was doing an installation of Windows 11 on a little B-Link PC. And it was getting to the point where you have to put in your username and password. And he couldn't remember the kind of the side hack or side hustle to try and avoid putting in the username and password for Windows 11 for installation. And I was trying to type it in to let him know. And I'm still blocked on live streams, it would appear. So I just mentioned after the stream the next morning when I woke up and I looked in there, I just commented on there. I tried to let you know what the deal was, but unfortunately it appears I am blocked from posting in your live streams for some reason, even though I can post in normal videos.
Looks like you're screwing into Poppy's tail.
Sorry, it's Poppy's tail. And it posted, and it went to the website, or went onto the YouTube comment section. I could refresh the page and it was still there, it was still visible. So I thought, well, hopefully he'll see that, and then the next time he has to do it, then he'll know how to do it a lot easier than all the other command lines and stuff like that. And then the next thing I know, the comment's been deleted, and then he's done another stream on how to avoid activating Windows 11 when you're doing an install. And I was like, yeah, that pretty much sums up Kerry Holzman, to be honest with you. So bless you, Gary. When normally when someone tries to help you out, it is generally customary, at least in my lifetime, that you'd actually say thank you to someone for helping you out. But I guess it is what it is. I would say I'm not bitter, but I am. I don't like that sort of thing. I really don't. I think it's distasteful, and we're all in the tech community together. There's no reason.
With tech, as somebody keeps saying, is it?
Yeah, united with tech, we should be. We should all be united in tech. We're all fighting against the tech overlords. There's enough of that going on.
Divided by borders, united by tech.
Good one. That is a good one, actually. Stuart Cleary says Kerry doesn't say thanks. No, it doesn't appear to. Which is a shame. I don't know why people got to be like that. Like my dangly bits, life is too short. It really is. Right, before I put this drive in, I'm actually going to hook up the SATA cable off the power supply, just so I don't forget later on, because no doubt I'll get onto some other tangent and I will forget altogether.
Are you using an NVMe or just an SSD?
Just using an SSD in this build, whoever that was who asked.
That was Gers.
That was Greasy. What? Kerry Holzman? Yeah, I don't get it. It's a strange man. But hey ho, we live to fight another day. And I wonder if I can get that in there nicely. I want to make it so this cable management is actually pretty easy to do. Kath's waving at me now. Why are you waving at me? Oh, that's unfortunate. So I might have to do that after. This is really important actually, this bit here. So make sure if you've got this case or its bigger brother, that the little pins on the bottom there, you plug in the SATA cable. Because otherwise you get no RGB. And you've got to have your RGBs. All of them. So how can I get that in there? I wanted that to go over the top and out through the bottom, so to speak. So I want it on the third connection. I think this is why we don't use SATA drives anymore, because it's just a pain in the proverbial, isn't it? Is that going to go back in there? Yep, it will. So I can poke that under there. A little bit of discrete cable management. That's going to be ready and waiting to go into the PSU when we're ready for it. Happy days. And hopefully we can just about get in there with this SATA cable, as we say in Bristol. Here mate, where's your SATA? Actually, I'm going to use a straight one. I'm not going to use...
Call it a SATA.
It's a SATA cable.
In Bath.
In Bath? If you live in Bath, you call it a SATA cable. Because we're very posh in Bath.
Hey, Sky.
And we use this Queen's English. What ho, chaps? Let's go down to Bath, do some shopping. I've got a spare few million. Let's top up our electricity cards. Ah, dear. Hello, Sky Stalker. I heard Kath say. Buongiorno. Ivory Wolfman says South Africans call everyone uncle. Wow. Neil saying, what case is that? This is the Gamemax. Kath, what is it, the Gamemax?
Inferno. No.
Inferno?
Infinity.
Where the hell did you get that from? Infinity? Where'd you get that from either? It begins
Abyss.
with A. Abyss, thank you. Sorry, Neil. I'm training her up. She's still on her apprenticeship. She'll have her City and Guild soon. She's got the level 1 in tea making.
Yeah, I'm good at tea making. And coffee.
Right, do I need more fans, or is
face.
2 at the top going to be enough? I don't really want to put another 3 in the front, I don't think, at this particular moment in time.
You've got me in view.
Stop looking at Kath. If you pinch on the screen now, on iPhones and stuff, you can actually zoom in so you can see her.
Is that flame on your lap or you growing your hair out 70s style?
Is that Bob?
Yeah. Oh,
David O'Dill says go 13 fans. I suppose I should put more in there, really. I've got enough ports. There's the RGB port hub on the back, so we can put another 2 fans in easily. And we've got enough addressable RGB, so 1, 2, 3, 4 fans. Actually, no, because we'll need another one for the cooler, won't we? So 1, 2, 3. Yes, I'm debating my life now, and also cable management, because there isn't a lot of depth here for cables. So I might stick with that for now, because I think there's enough at the front. I think more than 2 fans might be overkill. I don't know. I kind of want to do it though. But I'm just thinking of a cable nightmare. Let's have a look. I'm gonna... Do I, don't I?
Poppy, does he, doesn't he?
Thing is, they're not going to pull in a great deal of air from the bottom anyway. But it is going to look a bit naked, isn't it? I'll do it. Alright, let's take this front panel off whilst trying not to smash myself in the face with it. This front panel comes off, and there is enough room on... If they did a mesh version of this, it would be awesome. Because they could just change out this front panel, get rid of all that electrical gubbins in there, and it would be great. I'm going to unplug that. Oh no, I'm not, because it's pulling out all of the plastics.
Andrew says hashtag respect me PC community.
Yeah, respect me PC community, definitely. Thing is, it's not just companies which give you grief as well, it's actual other people.
That's your torch. So I can see them bright. Have I not missed the lights?
There's toothache later coming on. Right, so let's take that out of the way altogether. Hey, Poppy Dora. What? Go on. Let's chuck in another couple of fans. And I'll worry about the... What's he doing in there? She's looking for them screwdrivers. Again, massive shout out to all the contributors, if I could say it, for sending in bits and pieces. It's awesome. And thanks also, obviously, to Gamemax. Gamemax is going to be one of those weird companies, because we've had so many times where I've had stuff and I've not been 100% happy. And I do the reviews and the videos, and they don't mind. They're like, that's cool, we'll take it on board. We listen to what you say. We listen to what your viewers say in the comments, and we try and feed that back to Gamemax HQ. Because obviously, at the end of the day, they just want to sell computer stuff. They didn't really want to be bothered about what people dislike and like, and that. They just want to sell cool stuff. So if it's causing people grief or aggro, or there's something that could be done better, they definitely want to know about it. And I applaud that, definitely.
The director wonders if you're on OnlyFans.
I'm on only Gamemax fans currently. That's a joke. I'm not on OnlyFans. If I thought there was a couple of quid in it, I'd go on OnlyFans. And that's weird. Calf. I swear what it is sometimes, I think Kath, she gets, when we get these streams going, she thinks it's like a time where she can just have a random pop at me all the time. It's good though. Keeps me on my toes. These aren't looking very straight. Right, these don't adjust very nicely. They haven't cut this out particularly well, I don't think.
Only cooling fans.
I don't think they want to move at all. And now it's stuck in there. Ah, there we go. It's me being a wally. Talk about making hard work out of something. Right, there must be something blocking that fan at the top. Oh, there we go. Do you hear that? That is the crunch of success. Bob heard that 3 times last week.
Is that his date night?
Yeah.
What, last week, was it?
It was last week or was it the week before?
I'm not sure.
Right, where am I going to take the cables out from the side?
Unicorn Life Matters just recommended Gamemax Trooper case to a first-time viewer after seeing one of your past videos on it.
Yeah, to be fair, the Gamemax Trooper is a half decent case. I like their new, is it the Icon? Was it the Icon? Is that?
I don't know. Old Man Wither says, I really like the Gamemax Spark case I picked up after one of your videos.
Oh yeah, the Spark was good. Yeah, the little Spark, that was a cool little case. The Spark in white is now actually available as well in the UK. I might see if I can tap up Gamemax and get them to send me one of those out and do a white themed build.
Van Halen?
Kath's pointing at the screen. Van Halen. Mike, what's your thoughts about the Gram DS brand? I've never heard of them. Sorry. I cannot give you any information on that because I literally, that's the first time I've ever heard of it, sorry. What do I need? Screws. I'm sure there's some screws in here somewhere, so yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Christ, putting fans in you'd think wouldn't take as long as it does, but when I'm doing it, it does. Thing is, when I'm doing this, I'm kind of slightly mindful that there are people watching, so I have to try and do it on an angle which kind of suits both of us to some extent. It probably doesn't, but anyway. I do appreciate you tagging along. Even if it's Saturday night, you've got nothing better to do and you're having a few drinks and you're probably going to pass out at some point and you just need some noise in the background to stop you going slightly mad. That's just Uggs, yeah. There we go. See, I'm thinking I should put one in the bottom now as well. Is that Ugly Bob sent that?
That's brilliant.
Ugly Bob has just sent a picture of himself and myself as the Lonely Island. Is it Lonely Island?
I think it is.
Yeah, Lonely Island with our dicks in a box, basically. That's actually a very good one. That needs to go on a t-shirt. You probably wouldn't want to go out anywhere like it though. Right, I think we've got enough fans now. I think arguably that is enough. 2 in the top, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. And being I've only got a certain amount of headers, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 extra headers, I've got 4 extra fans. Bish bosh, job done. I'm not doing any more because already we've got an absolute ton of cables to manage now. And I've got to snip off some more Molexes. Is the plural for Molex Molai? Or like mice? Mice. You have mouses. I'll get to a point now where I'll be like, oh, I should have left those Molex on. If you're wondering, which you probably aren't, even under Molex power, those fans are really quiet. They spin at about 1200 RPM, but they're whisper quiet. So if you do want to get some and you haven't got a load of fan headers or you don't have a hub, then they're actually still pretty quiet. Right, what should I put in next? I'm thinking the motherboard. Let's go with the motherboard. Now that I can't actually lay this down flat, let's put in the motherboard. So flip that around, try not to smash the keyboard, which no doubt I probably will. And let's get the overhead on. Is that in shot even remotely? Needs a bit of light. Sorry, Kath, could you put the big light on, please?
Excuse me, Flamey. I'm going to have to move. Good boy.
Not sure if that's made much difference at all. But we'll see. Right, so we are going to need some screws, obviously, for the pillars. These have got these weird little plastic pillars, which were very, very common in the kind of mid-90s, early 90s, on probably AT power supply, AT cases, whereas we are now obviously on ATX, but AT used to have those little spacers because there wasn't really a dedicated format for AT. It was kind of a bit of a mismatch. So you'd have all sorts of holes in different places. So you'd have a little plastic little spacer like this, which you can hopefully see. Yes, Kath.
Hugh, YouTube not giving me your videos lately. I have to type Mike's unboxing to get my live stream.
Ah.
He's got the chime icon.
Yeah, if you're getting that, your best thing to do is unsubscribe, then resubscribe, and make sure you click the notification bell and then the chimes. And then you should, in theory, get the videos. But yeah, YouTube are a little bit funny at stuff like that. Handy thing about those plastic bits is if you use them, you can actually use them to make sure the board is lined up, which it doesn't appear to be. Yep, that's good. Give it a little push forward, get all the screws lined up, although we're not putting a graphics card in here at the moment, so to be honest, it doesn't really matter if any of the screws match up or not, because there's nothing else going in there.
Letter don't get any either. She clicks all the bells, still don't get any notifications.
That is a little bit concerning. Why does that not seem to line up? Right, have I done something stupid down here? Because that one's not matching up at all. Let's loosen that one off and loosen that one off. That's a bit better. Let's get one in that top corner. I suppose I should have put the ATX power supply, the supplementary power in there, in that top corner. That is going to be an absolute bastard to get to. That's better. That's a bit better. Yeah, I know, Pops.
Where is she? On your desk.
She's in the DeWalt house. Mookie says it's a cut-off Modex connector underneath the motherboard. Oh, scheisse. Oh. I was thinking to myself, it's alright because it's a semi-modular power supply, so I can just put the EPS connector in and I don't have to worry about that too much because I can just put it through and then feed it through, but it's only semi-modular. So the bit that actually would be handy for it to be modular right now isn't. That's a bit of a bugger. I think that's pretty much it from that side. Let's pop some of these cables through. Put that one through there. I'm going to put the fan one underneath, I think, just to make that a little bit cleaner. Yeah, that's better. Gives me a bit more access to that top. Put that down, pull these cables through. And a fighting chance of actually getting the EPS in there. I have to go under. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. So there we go. There is the almost finished product. Nice. That's Flame. Just looking at your comments there. Make sure that people are behaving themselves. I know you all will, because you're good people in general. Apart from Bob, he's a bad man. Right, I'm going to put the SATA cable in because I know that's one I'm definitely going to forget. And luckily it's actually right above where it needs to go, which is quite handy. So I'm going to put that just in there. Typical, I could have put a right angle connector in there. Oh, come on. There we go. That is, well, there's a benefit to that. It's really tight in there, but at least it isn't going to fall out. Because it basically physically can't. I'm going to feed that wire back underneath for some kind of pseudo cable management. This is going to be an absolute nose to cable manage. I know this for a fact. I'm not looking forward to it in the slightest. It's going to suck because there is no room at all back here, which is not good. Not good at all. I think I might try and put the power supply in next. Corsair CX450M. Realistically, 450 is overkill for this particular for this particular PC. We don't need 450 watts. The processor itself has a TDP. Well, it's actually got, it's unusual. It's got a selectable TDP, so you can run it in eco mode, which is 45 watts, or you can use it in normal everyday mode, which is going to be 65 watts. Now, TDP is a really weird one because TDP doesn't mean what power it actually uses. It just means that it's kind of designed power limits, but generally they will go over and above that. This will probably go up to about 80 watts. Thanks Rich H for the $20 super chats to help keep the lights on, and ironically Kath has to turn them off. That's good. It's good exercise. Yeah, Kath.
Yeah.
Ah, my eyes. It's amazing how such a simple build can take so long. I blame the case and me waffling on like an idiot. So semi-modular, so we've got our EPS and the normal 24 pin, which is pre-connected. You've got 3 ports on the back. One is for PCI Express and the other is for SATA stroke PATA. We're not going to be using PCI Express in this, so I'll be leaving that firmly in the box because it's just another cable we'll have to manage otherwise. And as you can see, this is already somewhat getting out of hand. So let's plug in our SATA PATA and chuck that in there. I was thinking I should probably put PCI Express cable in there if I decide that I'm going to do something with this PC other than use it on the channel for something. Then it would be nice for the ability to put in a graphics card, I guess. I'm not too sure what I'm going to use it for, to be honest with you. I'm actually tempted to use it as a streaming PC because that thing's doing my head in. Lucky Muck. The 5700G is only $186 on Amazon. Wonder if there's any big uplifting graphics over the 5600G. I don't think there's going to be a great deal because even the with the extra cores and stuff, I think it's still only got 7 Vega cores. So it will have a little bit of a bump in performance, but not a great deal. And that's actually really cheap over here. They're still kind of best part of 200 pounds, give or take. I was actually watching a 5700G on eBay, and it went for 165 used, which is a little bit crazy, really. So over the coming couple of days, we will be doing again some stress tests and benchmarks and tuning this thing up a little bit to see what it actually can do. I think it's going to be absolutely fine for playing sort of modest games, to be honest with you.
Unicorn Life Matters.
Do you know of any small compact case that supports a vertically mounted dual slot GPU and supports a micro ATX motherboard? Ooh, no, that's quite a tough one. I'd have to put my thinking cap on for that one, sorry. If anyone else in the chat has an answer for Mookie there.
Not Mookie.
Sorry, for Unicorn. Was it Unicorn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please feel free to chime in. I'm going to try and feed this through here. And this is going to be... actually, no, it's not going to be too bad at all. Normally, when you get into this sort of situation where you've got an EPS cable in that top corner, it's a bit of a pain. This isn't going to be simple. Let's not be let's not get carried away here. But actually, no, it is going to be an absolute arse. I've spoken too soon. Because Corsair put those braided things on everything, it makes life a little bit more difficult. But we can overcome. And there is the click of happiness. Try and bend that back up over the top, just so it doesn't want to foul the fans. That is a good connection in there, and it's holding the other wires out of the way. Pretty good. So now we're going to manage this around here a little bit. Just tuck it in. I was going to make a joke then, but these days you can't about that sort of thing, so I'm not going to make any jokes about tucking things in anywhere. Oh dear. So, Mr. Churchill, how did you manage to get banned from YouTube? Well, we were talking about things in a box and just one thing led to another. Basically, I blamed Bob.
And Dave.
And Dave.
Hashtag blame Dave.
Gotta blame Dave. Right.
Silence of the Lamb style.
Yeah. Oh, I've got that wild horses going through my head now.
Do you want me to go and get you a lipstick?
No, please don't. Right. Wow. This is getting like, oh my days. Where am I going to put these cables? Really, with this, you should start with the big cables and then do the little ones after. And I think I'm actually going to use that advice. Let's get all this stuff out of the way, because I'm going to end up in a lot of trouble very quickly, I think, with this. Hello. Mike, what do you think of Gigabyte Aorus Project Stealth concepts? It would help a lot with cable management. I've not seen it, to be honest with you. But anything which helps out with cable management would be very welcome, especially right about now.
Right, a letter says, easier cable management is you cut off the front panel cables and ditch the RGB.
You're absolutely right. I cannot...
Timing couldn't be better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Aletta, 100%. I think you're onto the right track there entirely. So let's bend that out the way.
David Underhill, there's a technical term for cable management. Just shove it in.
That is what she said. How am I gonna... That might work. This could work. I'm gonna cable manage the back of this. I actually, genuinely, for this particular build, I want to do a really tidy job, just because I think that it's almost impossible. That could work. That could work. Yeah, I think this is going to be alright. Panic over. Not that anyone was panicking. Least of all me, I don't panic. There is limited room in here. There really, really is. And actually, the Corsair power supply is possibly one of the shorter power supplies actually on the market at the moment. So yeah, we're right up against it, really.
Blackhand Rise.
I wonder if I can get that to go underneath there. Yep, I got it. Sorry, I'm concentrating. So if I do that, and then fold that over there, that actually keeps the cable in a little bit lower. And that can go against there. That's awesome. That works. Only about 30 cables to go. Blackhand Rise, nice to see. I built my mate a PC with Ryzen 5600G. Will handle Photoshop and non-3D apps very well. Budget was under 500 quid. Was also my first build with RGB fans. Almost tempted to go RGB as well. Yay. Go RGB. Ugly Bob says, lol, the cables look like Robert Smith's hair.
Mark Point asked, is that the new Fantech case?
Is that the new Fantech case? It isn't. No, this is the new, well, it's not really new. This is Gamemax is Abyss. I had to think myself then. Right. What are going to be the next important ones to do? Let's talk about some RGB and some HD audio.
SSJ Dark before.
Hang on a moment. I'll be with you in a second, HHH Jar.
SSJ.
That's the one. That's the badger. Let's run that down through there. Nice, nice, nice. Actually, I'm going to put that on the other side of that cable. I really want to do a nice job in this. Someone somewhere will be proud of me, I'm sure. Right, that's going to have to go on the inside. I knew this was a bad idea. I was tempted to put a mechanical drive in here as well. I'm glad I haven't, because I think that would have sent me just slightly over the edge. Cables pass through nicely, so that's handy. So we're going to do our HD audio, which is down in the bottom corner. And where's our little pin out there? And the pin out is... oh, I can never see these. Right, if I stab that against my finger... ow!
I wondered what that was.
Right, that's the pin out. That's a top tech tip there. If you're not too sure what the pin outs are and you can't see and you can't be arsed to get your glasses or a torch, mash your finger against the pins and you get an imprint. And you can see the actual pin out on your finger and oh, that's the way it goes. And I'll still plug it in wrong. You don't see Kerry Holzman dishing out technical information like that. Probably for good reason, to be fair. Yes, see, that went in perfect.
SSJ Dark.
Oh, sorry, SSJ Dark. What was the question?
I'm going to be building my PC in a week and need help. Would you recommend a RX 580 for $100 or a GTX 1070 for $115?
1070, all day long. 580 is... the 1070 is almost... well, it was a massive jump when I went from 580? Can't remember what I went from. But I went from, I think it was I went from a 480 or a 580 up to a 1070, and the difference was night and day. So yeah, 1070 is a good one.
Mark Point.
Mark Point.
Still haven't got my Rob build going. Can get into BIOS, but it freezes when I try to install Windows. Any suggestions, anyone?
Yeah, I would say join our Discord and we can go through that. If it's freezing trying to install Windows, that is arguably a bad sign. Something very wrong is going there, because installing Windows is a very non-intensive task. So yeah, there must be something very, very wrong going there. I hate to say it, but yeah, installing Windows, if it's having troubles there, that is not a good sign at all. Right, I'm going to put that there and use that as some sort of brace for the USB 3.0. Run it underneath that because that's held in place.
Dave Aiken's
Not exactly tidy, but it'll do. It'll do. Hey, Dave.
Install Linux then, Mike.
Install Linux? Have a word for yourself. I'm not installing bloody Linux. Jesus. I don't even own slippers. I don't. Kath's got slippers, I haven't. She
I
might.
want sheepskin slippers.
You don't.
I do.
You don't. You just think you do.
I had them when I was little. I loved them. I had little pink ones.
Right, this.
Pink moccasins.
Sometimes, Catherine, I
Oh,
despair.
I think
Right.
I want some more.
This is getting tidier, honestly. Right, let's unplug that one and unplug that one because we don't need those in the way. We've got too much stuff in the way as it is. And these have got pass-throughs on, which is going to make it lumpy as hell. That is all of our cables there for those fans, so they can go at the top as well. I can't believe I'm actually doing a cable management thing on this. Normally it's just like chuck it in the back and be done with it. But I think on this, that is probably not the way forward. And I quite like these little Velcro straps. It's a nice little touch. Good idea. I've never really been a big fan of cable management straps, but in this instance, it's actually it's making a big difference. Very big difference, in fact. Making life a little bit easier. Actually, it looks quite tidy as well. So that is going to need to go in there. So that is almost perfect length. Yes, Kath, you've got your hands up.
R. Wolfman added project stuff to Discord. If that means anything to you. Just so you know. And what Slipper's got to do with Linux.
If you use Linux, then normally you are some hippie with slippers, possibly. I don't know. That was the old-fashioned view of it. I know Linux has changed a lot before you start jumping up and down. Although, don't jump up and down, you ruin your slippers.
Nick Barnes, have a spare R3 1200 GTX 1050 Ti single fan and want to build a media PC, but ITX motherboards so costly. What's the smallest
Yeah, they are, definitely.
MATX case you have used?
Smallest or most compact micro ATX, I guess, is going to be Gamemax Spark. The Commando's not bad. Gamemax Commando. I could get behind that. That's quite small. You can make that into a small build. Trouble is with micro ATX, you get to a point where...
What's that one your work's got?
that is the Gamemax Kamikaze.
That's quite a small one.
Yeah, Kamikaze is quite a small case, or there, that one that Bob got us before, the AeroCool. God, what was it? AeroCool. Can't think what it was called. But they do a version of it from another company as well, and it's called the DKD1 or something, or DKD3 or something, from First Player Gaming.
What's the smallest case you have used? Not.
Oh, the smallest case I have used?
Probably that Co-Link Rocket or.
Yeah, Co-Link Rocket is pretty small.
Or that in-win air fryer.
Oh god, yeah, the in-win air fryer. Yeah, that is tiny. I'm moving that cable, the SATA one, because that worries me being down there, and that fits much better there. James Brock's in the house. How you doing, James Brock?
Kev's asked updated opinion on the chair. Any changes since the video?
Not really. It's still, well, I'm still using it. That for me is a rare thing, because they're, when I'm actually using a gaming chair in this position, in this room, it's a absolute pain in the bollocks. It really is. I'm sorry to say it that way, but it is. It's horrendous. We're so limited on space here, so having my tiny little, like milking stool almost, is perfect in this room.
At the end of that cupboard behind you, you've probably got an arm's length to fit in, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you've probably seen it from the video. If you look in the video, you can see where this cabinet ends. Literally between there and my computer desk is literally about that. So I have to fit the chair in there. So if I ever want to tilt back, I can't, because it's right up slammed against this cabinet. And the desk can't come out much further. So yeah, it's really a pain in the backside to actually use a chair of this size in this room. Especially trying to slot it in behind this desk as well. It is a real pain. If I had a much bigger place, it would be amazing. I would love it. I would use it all the time without fail. But yeah, for ease of use and portability, it's not ideal. So you do need to have a decent amount of room available. Right, I think I can wire up some fans now. Get some fannies on the go for Lord Erectus. He does like a good set of fannies. I don't know why that amuses me. It shouldn't do really, because it's rather juvenile. Maybe that does appeal to my sense of humour. James says, thank you for the acknowledgement. I'm fine. How are you and everyone this evening? Yeah, not too bad. I feel like I had a bit of a runny nose earlier, and I feel a bit nasally today. I don't know whether it's just because the temperature keeps on changing. It's doing me head in. Doing me head in. Yeah. Right. I have a fan header to connect. Which fan header shall I use? There aren't many on this board, so that might narrow down my choices. There is one at the very bottom. Is there only one? And one at the back. So it's going to be the one at the bottom. So that can run through there.
Lord Erectus is bring it on, fannies all the way.
I do like the fact that this case actually, in terms of cable management, is pretty bloody easy to do. This bottom bit, where the pass-throughs are really good and they're in like excellent places. So it just, for this particular board anyway, it makes it very easy to do. And actually does, that looks quite tidy, to be fair. Well, I'm normally quite a messy builder, but this is actually not looking half bad. I know that's my own self-praise there, so take it with a very, very large dose of salt. But yeah, it's looking pretty. That is looking pretty tidy. I'm glad I'm taking the time and effort to do this. Hopefully, you lot are appreciating it. My voice isn't appreciating it. I am getting a little bit hoarse now. I'm not sure if that's going to be too. Is that going to stick out too much? I've got to be really mindful of how much clearance there is. They do say in the blurb for this case that there's 25mm of cable management, but there ain't there. Well, there is there, but anywhere else there isn't. And my other concern was the fact that these RGB connections on the back are exposed. So it'd only take a little bit of a dent in the back of the case for those to short out. So I will be putting some electrical tape over those just to keep them covered. I'm not saying that it would happen, but it's better to plan for an eventuality that it won't happen than not to plan. That was almost pragmatic.
SSJ Dark says, I'm learning and appreciating knowing me. I would have just shoved the wires into the case.
To be honest with you, I probably would have shoved the wires in the case if it wasn't for the fact that there was people watching. Innit, Kath? She'll agree with that.
No, you're quite meticulous, really.
I can be meticulous at times. I can be ridiculous at others. It was. Well done. Right, these are going to be a real mess because there's not a lot of room to work with, to be completely honest with you. So I'm gonna run those across there because these can be just laid flat on the back of here, which is going to be fine.
Your pillow's wonky.
My wonky donkey pillow?
Yeah, it's proper wonky. It looks like you've got like a little peak hat on.
Let's take it off. It doesn't really need a pillow because it's
Oh, you want to sit on my lap again?
it's quite padded.
Go on.
Right, what have we got here? So that's the RGB from the cooler. So I'm going to stick that in the middle. I am actually tempted to label these up as well, so I know which one's which.
Our Wolfman says, one of the pins on my hub snapped, so good idea to cover them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You did say that in the video, didn't you?
Yeah, in the review I was a little bit, I wouldn't say dismissive or derogatory or anything like that, but I was just pointing out the fact that exposed pins can potentially be a nightmare. So in our instance, we covered them all up anyway because they're literally all used. But yeah, it still could be a bit of an issue. And actually what I'm very tempted to do is to, let's rewire that one. I'm actually going to get some black tape on this now. And I'm going to put it down flat, and the extra fly leads, I'm going to actually stick them out the way so that they, when we put the back of the case on, it doesn't just go all over the place. So hopefully you can see that there if I do the overhead. So basically I'm going to put some tape across there, or I might just put some tape across there just to hold these in place. So I think actually I think that's a pretty good idea.
Rick would like to see a white build on the stream.
I would like to see a white build on the stream, but the trouble is with white builds is they go against some of the things which I hold dear, which is basically value for money. Because white stuff is always more expensive, and I don't know why. There's no real need for it to be. I guess it's something to do with manufacturing or something. I don't know. Is that still working? Yeah. Just checking, there seems to be a massive delay between what I just did then and what actually appears on the stream. Right. So this is rather cowboyish, but it will do the job. And I'll just hold those in place enough in order for me to get the back on. And also prevent any damage to the cables, etc. Probably overkill. So fans there. Oh God, where's that one come from? There's another RGB. What's that from? Right. So I'm going to undo some of my work here. My work here clearly is not done. And I'm going to take that one out and stick that one in.
Liquid electrical, I can't even speak. Liquid electrical tape works wonders.
I must get some. Oh, where does that come from? There's too many wires. Whose idea was it to have an RGB in a PC? Who first come up with it? Because I would like to have a very strong word with them. There we go. There. It's not the most beautiful of looking of things, but all we want is so that the
middle one pushed in enough. Looks like it's not the same length as the rest.
Yeah, I think that's the one that comes from the CPU cooler. Oh, come on, fit on there, you bastard. Ah, there we go. I was just being left-handed. So these can probably be run under there. Oh.
Or maybe a pink build, Rick would like to see.
I wouldn't mind seeing a pink build, to be honest with you.
We've done one for years.
No, we have gone down that route before, but it's
Before our channel, wasn't it?
yeah, it's hard work to do, to be honest. Trying to get hold of stuff like that.
It's probably still up there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we actually did a pink build ages ago for Angel, and it's in her bedroom still. I don't think she ever used it. Maybe once.
No, she did use it back in the day, but we'll have to rip it apart. That'd be quite
It'd be like a collector's item.
yeah.
Wow.
What was in it?
I think, well, at some point it was an Athlon 200 GE. But then I think I took it out and put back in her old Athlon quad core, whatever that was. I don't know, actually. It'd be interesting to have a look at it, wouldn't it? Right, I think that is... I think we're good there. I never, ever want to take this apart. Ever.
Hit the pace car even.
Hit the pace car. Hi Mike, bought a B450M Steel Legend for my Coolermaster NR400 case recently because of your videos, and on it I couldn't be happier. Excellent. Upgraded to a 5600G only a week ago. Thanks for the great content. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it a lot. And thanks for stopping by as well in the live chat. Chris Artford says, is this a no GPU build? You're absolutely right. And before I put the sides on, what do you think about the cable management there? Considering what we're working with here, there's 5 fans, so it's 5 cables, 5 RGBs, plus the RGB fan. I'll be honest with you, if this works, I think I've actually outdone myself. That is pretty bloody tidy. If the side panel goes on, sorry Kath, can you grab the side panel for me please?
Sorry, Zane.
I think it's right. Bob says it's fine.
Which one? The metal one?
Can I have the metal one, please? Yeah. Did I put the thumb screws there as well, or have I got those over here?
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
there. Are they both the same?
Not sure.
So the chunky one's the back?
No, the chunky ones are the front. Is this going to be a suitcase job? Yeah, I think it is.
Poppy to sit on it.
So that bit, oh, I was wondering what it was.
3 out of
This
10.
cable here is actually the one which is pushing things up a little bit. So a little bit of pressure, not too much.
3 out of 10, Mike said.
3 out of 10? Bastard.
Yeston have some nice pink hardware.
Yes, they do. You're absolutely right. Yeston or Yeaston. Aletta says, nice cable management. Thumbs up, thank you. James Brock says, looks good to me, Mikey. Thank you very much. I'm quite... Oh, bollocks.
What?
I forgot to put the front on.
Oh, you didn't have the right camera on when you slapped your head.
Oh, damn it. Got too carried away with all the emotion of the build.
You know, over always.
And forgot to put on the thing. Weirdly, actually, this could be a deal breaker. I've just noticed this. Can any of you see that there? There's a scuff there. And there. Now, I don't know what that relates to, but anything which scuffs metal is generally not a good thing. So that can only go on one way, so it's that way. Where does that line up with? I think there's a test pin there. And that looks like it's potentially going to touch that. Can you see that on the camera? There's a two test pins sticking up there. And they're literally straight up. So if it's a test pin, that has got to be, I would guess, a positive and a negative. So that is not a good idea to have that there.
Tape.
And can you see it? It's definitely scuffed something there. It's actually taken the paint off there. I'm trying to work out if that is, it might even be lower. I need to investigate this. I don't want to start a panic. So lower that down. Yeah, it is exactly where that test pin is.
Take
Right.
it over, put some fabric tape over the fan. I see it, put a piece of electrical tape on it.
Yeah. I don't think, because of the pins, I think that even electrical tape isn't going to do it. So I'm actually going to bend them, which is probably going to void any warranty. And I think actually on Monday, I'm going to get on a telephone call with Gamemax and warn them about this, because potentially, depending what is going through that could...
Sky said stick electrical tape.
That could damage something.
What? Nick Barnes asked, what are test pins?
Well, that's what I'm not entirely sure. So, let's see. Is that in focus?
Yeah.
Just about. You can just about see it, can you? So there's those two test pins there. So depending what they do, I suppose really I could do with taking that out completely and seeing where the traces go and see if they do actually go to 12 volt or anything. But that is possibly a bad thing. And it's definitely scratched through the paint. So
Take it all out and rebuild it in another case, Welly Bob said.
I'm going to bend those over. Because if they're only test pins, they don't mean anything anyway.
Hot glue to cover it, maybe.
Yeah, hot glue is actually a very good shout. Who said that?
Welly Bob. After saying take it all out and rebuild it in another case.
Welly Bob? Seriously, that is possibly a probably one of the best things you've said. So I'm going to get the Akonoi glue gun out, which probably take about an hour to heat up. Shouldn't be that flat though. Last time I used it to secure those radiators to the wall.
Where'd you get it?
This came from ShopSmart. For those of you that are unaware, Mrs. Churchill, who is sat adjacent to me, just over by there, that's Welsh, has her own little YouTube channel, which has deals and stuff on. And one of those deals was, oh, that is way out of focus.
And another, Captain White said, small thermal pad.
Yeah, thermal pad might do it. I think I'm liking the hot glue, because that's quite easy to do, and the fact that this is cordless and it's actually heating up as we speak.
But don't use them near your genitals.
Yes, so we'll wait for that to warm up a little bit. Glue gun, Steve Burke wouldn't approve. He wouldn't.
It'd be funny if you glue the back cover on.
That'd be good. Next, make the front panel mesh. I would love to do that. That would be great. If I could make the front panel on this mesh, it would change the entire case, wouldn't it? It really would. Right, let's go back to the main camera for a little bit and wait for this to heat up. Oh, yeah, that's getting warm. Don't try that at home, kids. It's probably not a good idea. That was a cool little set, actually. Well, that cost us about 10 quid, wasn't it?
I think it was even less than that.
Something bizarre. Yeah. USB charging hot glue gun.
They don't have, I don't get sent many,
It's brilliant.
many deals now.
And they even come with like an absolute ton of glue sticks. Some little condom things. Multi-point charging cable. A little mat for you to put the stuff on so it doesn't mess up your surfaces, which I should use. A little trimming knife as well. It's a bloody great little kit. And it was super, super cheap. John Sullivan says don't use on USB 3 connectors. William Bodie says just use tape on it. You can always undo it later.
Fun in that.
Okay, where's the fun in that?
But if it scrapes through the metal, it just scrapes through the
yeah, that, to be honest with you, that is my concern. Obviously, electrical tape, if you've ever used electrical tape on anything sharp, you'll know that it's basically kind of pointless. It's good for insulating, but as soon as you rub anything against it or try and pierce it, it pierces straight away. So I'm edging on the side of caution here because I don't want it to damage anything. And those test pins, that's a bad idea. They should at least, at the very least, put some sort of cap on there. That's a bit bad, really. So I might have to do a public service announcement. Or, well, I'll speak to Gamemax first and see what they say. If they're aware of it, they may not even be aware of it. So it'd be nice to highlight it for people, I think.
Remember, always use more glue than you need, Jared.
Will do. Thank you, Jared. Ah, dear. Tristan G says use more cowbell on the case. You can always use more cowbell.
What is that?
It's a meme from... I'm trying to think of the actor's name. There's an actor... You know the one who had the hunk of metal up his ass for 30 years? In Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
He did a thing where they're doing some song and he's like a producer or something, and there's like, no, we need more cowbell. And it's just, it became some Christopher Walken. Thank you, James. Yes, that's what it's from. Oh, we got El Drip. So we are almost ready for some hot glue on the nipples. Still not quite warm enough. I suppose it doesn't have to be that hot, does it? So let's give you the give you the overhead view. And all I'm going to do is just cover that with a bunch of glue. Oh, it's like icing a bloody cake. Oh, you shithead. Come on. Oh, I'm making bloody spider webs now. I'm not in TV land now.
David Underhill, don't mention metal in someone's rear end when I'm drinking coffee. Now I have to clean keyboard and 3 monitors.
Sorry. My apologies. Right. Oh, this stuff's getting everywhere. Right, I think that is sticky. Right, I better let that set a minute before I do anything else drastic. And actually, I know I can put the front panel back on now, can't I? Let's stick the front panel on. Yeah, that is... I'm glad I spotted that. Because that is potentially, depending, like I said, if there's 12 volts going through there, which it could be, because it is a SATA connection, and it is using a 12 volt for the fans, so to have a 12 volt short in a PC, potentially could cause a fire. Now, most of the time your power supply or whatever is probably going to trip out before that actually happens, but the potential's still there. So let's plug that back in. So
Budget and Scarborough.
this one goes into the strip header on the top. Bodge it and leg it, sons. I suppose I should really cable manage that as well, being as I've done all the other stuff. It's getting a bit much up here now. I'm just going to tuck that in. We're tucking it in again. Quick YouTube, ban us. Okay. Right. Sticky stuff is no longer warm. So we can now attempt to put the side panel back on again. Oh, sorry, Kath, can you pass it over?
Sorry, Flamo.
Forgot where I put that.
Yeah, as far away as pulse.
So just another quick, I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on there. So that is where the scratch is. This is more for, you can see it there just at the bottom. This is going to be more for Gamemax because obviously I want them to see what's happened here and to get their take and opinion on it.
Tridents is off to bed. The
Good
night before you finish.
Good night, Tridents. Yeah, it will be. Case goes on alright. Although I have cable managed the bejesus out of it and spent probably, what, 2 hours cable managing and building. Right. So, we are pretty much done. So now I can turn this bad boy on. I'm not going to go through and do a Windows install and all that now because it is super late. But I'm going to fire it up and see what it looks like. Power cable, that'd be handy. If it wasn't wrapped around all the other bloody cables. Oh, for frick's sake. I need to cable manage this down here as well. Remind me to do it this week, Kath, because I always forget. It never gets done. Ready for the bang. The monitor didn't turn off, that's a good start. And here we go.
Bye!
Oh, you fucking idiot. Why would you do that? I actually just had a little bit of a, I think I had a bit of a poop.
Attacken? I can't say it.
Look at that, we got some RGBs.
Attacken, is it?
Those RGB ones in the top are absolutely pointless because you can't even see the rim on them. That was a dick move. Let's see if I can turn it around a little bit so you can see the front ones, which again have got virtually no RGB on them whatsoever. That was totally pointless. That was literally pointless. And there's a cable sticking out there, that's going to be annoying. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyway. Aletta wants that computer, says James Miscellaneous. How are you doing, James?
Attacken?
Attacken.
I can't say it.
I have a B450M Max motherboard and a 600 watt power supply. I bought a Ryzen 5600 processor, installed it, but it didn't work. My 5600 did not span my old processor and worked again. Don't know. Could be a dead CPU. It's unlikely, but it does happen from time to time.
Discord?
Yeah, join our Discord and we'll be able to have a look for you. This is that in? Oh yeah, it's in. You've got different lighting levels as well, like brightness. That's full brightness. Let's go to Unicorn Puke. There we go. Kill the lights a minute, Kath, if you wouldn't mind. Although saying that, you won't be able to kill many of them because you've got all the monitors on. We'll have a little look. That's not bad. That's a bizarre effect, isn't it? It just keeps on going. Oh, it stops about there. So you put it there as an infinity. I can't see it from myself after. Oh, actually, I can see it on Kath's screen.
But I'm really delayed.
I quite like it. I like the look of this. I think it's one of those things where if you like the infinity mirror effect, there's very few cases that pull it off particularly well for less than kind of, well, silly money. For 50 quid, yeah, it's not the perfect case, and yeah, it's got its faults. And it's pushing out actually quite a lot of air, which I didn't expect it would. And it's pretty bloody quiet, considering we haven't done any fan tests or anything, or set the fan speeds. That's really quiet. Really quiet. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Happy days. Right, you can stick the lights back on now, Cav. Sorry. Sorry.
You can do like a bird cage at night and cover it with a towel and go to sleep.
Yeah. I know, if you don't want the lights, then that's very easy, because you can just press that. Or you can press and hold the button there, and that transfers it over to motherboard mode, and if it's not connected, it'll just turn off. Although the RAM currently is RGB still, so... Well, actually, what's that lit up at? Oh, is that the RAM just lighting up the fan blades? Yeah. Of course it would. It's really quiet. I'm actually looking forward to doing the temperature tests on this to see what the temps are actually like, being how quiet it actually is. Let's turn on our Rainbow Puke. They are Rainbow Mirage fans giving out Rainbow Mirage Puke. Ah, dear. Thank you for the super chat, sorry, from... Who's that? Rick H, $20, another $20, thank you very much. Says a bit more for the power bill. Thank you very much, Rick. That is much appreciated, sir. The RGB from the lamp actually matches here pretty well. That's pretty cool.
Are the two fans in front creating that infinity effect, or is it other lighting strips?
Yeah, the fans on the front are basically doing... Let me... Ugh. Christ almighty. So the fans on the front are basically doing that, which is basically nothing.
Yeah, but are they doing that? So that's wired up differently.
So that is...
Separate.
That's got its own LEDs built in it. That's why the cable's going through. So there is a RGB strip that runs around the outside edge of that, and because it's got a mirror behind it, it makes it look like it's an RGB effect. So you don't have to have any fans in there at all, and it will still do the infinity mirror effect. It is basically a standalone thing. You can do this yourself. So if you want one in your hallway or something, you can just get a mirror, get some framing, paint it black, put an addressable RGB strip around the inside edge of it, and then put a piece of glass in front of it, and you'll get exactly the same effect. Why
would you want that in your hallway?
Well, no, because if you have it lit up white, it actually would be quite a good mirror. Be like the ones you have in like makeup rooms where they have all the lights around the outside edge, isn't it?
SSJ Dark?
SSJ Dark said I had one picked out.
Anyone got?
Oh. Anyone got any recommendations for a motherboard to pair with the 12th Gen i3? To be honest with you, at the moment, when it comes to 12th Gen, I've not been following it particularly closely because it's just got so expensive. And yeah, I would say wait till we're so close to Black Friday now. It's absolutely pointless making any purchasing decisions until Black Friday. Unless you see a deal which you think is unlikely to be repeated, like say for instance there's some sort of clearance deals on, you might find yourself getting a decent deal there. Realistically, I would say hold on, wait till Black Friday. It's always a gamble. It's like anything. It's like stock market shares and all that kind of stuff. If you jump in, no one's got a crystal ball. You never really know what's going to happen. You can have an inkling of what's going on. But yeah, I would certainly be slightly cautious at the moment making any IT purchases, just in case there is going to be some better deals on Black Friday. It does seem that the 12th and 13th generation Intel is doing pretty well. So you might not see the kind of reductions that you're going to see from AMD. I do feel that Black Friday, there's going to be some serious reductions for AM5 because they're basically sitting on shelves. and retailers do not like that at all. There has been some inclination that AMD may actually subsidize some motherboard sales and stuff, and processor sales, or add incentives, so potentially we might see some decent reductions. Who knows? Right, I think that is it. I can turn this off now. I'm happy that that has worked. And the fact that I pressed the button once and it's gone off, that means it's gone into the BIOS. So that is a good sign, rather than just being stuck on an infinite loop. So I think I'll put this to one side and we'll take a few questions and stuff. But I think that has been a relative success, as they say. Thank you. Oh.
Still under there.
That'll do. That's close enough. Welly Bob says M5 is selling very poorly indeed. No surprise with the cost to jump on board. I've actually, at this point, this week, in fact, I've had 2 companies reach out to us to see if we want to do reviews on DDR5. Silicon Power, thank you very much, Silicon Power, and also Thermaltake, both of which have reached out and said, we've got some new DDR5 modules, would you like to review them? And I've had to turn them both down. I don't know. I'm interested in what your thoughts are on it, really. Sorry, Kath, can you pass the bin round so I can chuck some of this away? I really am not interested in doing any reviews on DDR5 at the moment, for the main reason that I don't feel that it offers value for money or that kind of stuff. And most of you that have been around long enough, you probably know that that is kind of one of my key things, value for money. And as much as I want to see what the new stuff is like and actually experience it, I don't think that it's going to offer enough value for money or enough of a performance uplift to warrant spending that amount of money. Now, actually, after I've said that, I have noticed that some of the prices have come down actually quite considerably, and they may come down even more. But as it stands at the moment, if I go off and do a price match type thing, or go onto PC Part Picker, do a DDR system versus a DDR5 versus DDR4, there's a noticeable difference. And also, I don't feel personally that there's enough of an uplift, especially on Intel side of things. If you went from a DDR4 system to a DDR5 on 12th or 13th gen, I don't feel that you get enough for your money. So it's in that position where if you don't have to upgrade, there isn't really anything which is worthwhile upgrading to at the moment. Dave Akins is coming there with a £2 token towards the DDR5 Mobo fund. I've actually, because I've sold a couple of PCs recently, which we've managed to cobble together, I've recovered basically the money that I've spent out on a lot of this stuff. So I could potentially, if I want to, I've got the money to buy a motherboard. Let's put it that way. I'm kind of looking to see what happens on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, in which case I may well jump on the bandwagon. I do kind of have my eyes on a DDR5 Tomahawk B650 Wi-Fi. That is kind of where I am sort of looking at the moment. I think it dropped down the other day to 240 in the UK, down from 299 as its normal price, but there was a 20% off thing, so that took off like 60 quid. And I had it in my shopping basket, and I was thinking that would be a nice upgrade. But then I went to look at processors, and the closest one which made some sense was the 7600, and that was still kind of 250, 260. And I'm thinking, that's not going to give me a massive performance uplift. And then I've got the RAM, and it's kind of, if I'm going to go for a processor, it's got to be a 7700 or above, and that's like 360, 370. And it is piss poor value for money, it really is. There's a super chat coming here from Welly Bob, £5. Says Dave's cheap hours £2. Let's not get into that. Let's not start a bidding war. Thank you very much. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments now. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are. Are you interested in DDR5 platform as it stands at the moment? with the proviso of being if you've already got a PC. Because I feel that if you're going to invest into DDR5, you have to buy a PC or equipment which is going to be obviously either the equivalent to or better than what you're already using. And in order to do so, you have to spend a considerable amount of money. And then you've also got the big fly in the ointment, which is the fact that AMD has got the Ryzen 9 5800X. Or was it Ryzen 7? I can never remember. Basically, the 5800X 3D is now come down to about £350, which puts it basically slap bang in the middle of the pricing of the 7700X. But you can use your existing motherboard and your existing RAM. And potentially it'll still be faster. In general purposes, actually pretty much most cases. So it's a really difficult, it's a very hard sell, and I kind of understand why people like Silicon Power and Thermaltake are reaching out, especially to like a low-end YouTuber like myself, trying to get reviews, because I think they probably want kind of like the everyman type of reviewer to start reviewing this stuff, because they've done all the top flight guys. They've had it, they've used it, they've benchmarked it and give you the results. But everybody knows that they just get stuff sent for free, so they can basically build up anything. And yeah, if there's a small improvement in performance, they're happy. But whereas it comes down to us, and hopefully people like yourselves who have to buy this stuff yourself to some extent, like we do get sent stuff free of charge, obviously. But the majority of it we buy. And I still can't justify spending money that I've earned on a DDR5 platform when there isn't a tangible reason to do so at the moment. That's my personal opinion on it. I want to know what you lot think of it, because ultimately I'm doing a lot of these videos to suit you, the viewer. So that's my opinion on it. I want to know what you want to see. SSJ Dark says, I'm good for DDR5. I've seen it and was hornswoggled when I saw the prices. Yeah. Ari Wolfman says the 5800X 3D is faster than most new AMD GPUs and Intel ones for that matter. John Sullivan says I still want to buy a 5900X hopefully next year. Old Man Withers, considering getting a DDR5 system after Xmas, don't need it, but it would be a fun project. Yeah, I'm kind of that's where I'm at with it really. Hugh Luttrell says I bought a 7700X and an ASRock X670E board. That sounds awesome. That's the sort of thing I would like to do, but being that I've got stuff, it's a tough sell, it really is. Would be nice though. Alessa says my PC is doing more than I need it to, so I'll be keeping it for at least the next 5 years. James Massinian says you've got to buy a 4090 to be a real YouTuber. Yeah, I know, it's a daft situation we're in really, isn't it? It's like where people feel that they have to have the latest and greatest to maintain an audience base and all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and jaded, but I just don't care. I really don't care. If it offered me like a massive, if they said you pay £100 more than and you'll get the equivalent in performance in extra uplift in speed and stuff, I'd probably be on board with it, because then you can say, well, yeah, if I buy a litre of Coke, I can drink a litre of Coke. If I buy 2 litres of Coke for the price of 2 1 litres, it's great, because you're basically getting the same. Or if you get 2 litres a little bit cheaper, that'd be great. That's normally how things work, but at the moment, everything's so bloody expensive, not just Coca-Cola, but other drinks are available. But it just seems like, why would I want to spend all that money on a rig which is not going to give me any real tangible uplift in performance? And if I didn't benchmark it, I'd probably have no idea whatsoever what was actually running. I think that's the case for a lot of this stuff. We watch these videos, the YouTube videos, the usual content, and what do you wait for? You wait for the benchmarks. And why do you wait for the benchmarks? Because otherwise you'd have no freaking idea if it's any better or not. Because you don't feel it. You don't feel that difference. It might feel a little bit snappier. Generally it's going to be because you've done a fresh install of Windows on your new platform. But other than that, it's, I don't know. I don't see the point. I really don't. But it would be quite nice.
Where are Uggs?
Uggs he's passed out. Captain White, how you doing? Someone I game with has just splashed out 4,200 quid on a top of the range PC specialist system, including a 4K 140Hz monitor. It's awesome. If you can afford to do it and you've got the money and it's not going to like mess you up, then do it. James Brock says Linus the Squeaker. Steve Simmons says it comes down to the fact that if you want to go up, it's just not one part you need to upgrade. Intel seems to have done it the right way this time round.
Oh, Uggs is still
Yeah,
there.
I think so. I think you're probably right there. James Miscellaneous. Oh, sorry, I said that one. Stuart Cleary says Kerry would agree. Yeah, I think actually when it comes to DDR5, Mr. Holzman and myself would probably be on the same page with it. Maybe it's because he's old and weary of it all himself. Chris Hartford says, best thing about new gen hardware, makes last gen cheaper and I can snap up bargains. Yeah, I think that's basically where I am with it. The older stuff now is coming down. Like, look at what we bought today. The 5600G processor was, this time last year, was £250, give or take a couple of pence. Whereas now we picked it up for about 125, so that's literally half price for the same processor. Although motherboards have been on the rise, so yeah, it's kind of swings and roundabouts, I guess. Neil Longman says currently running a 12th gen MSI mortar, nice board, with a new 13600K with 32 gigs of DDR4. I don't think upgrading my motherboard and RAM would gain anything. Not that you would be able to notice. I don't think you'd feel the difference. I think if you run a benchmark, you would see possibly a slight uptick in performance, but otherwise I don't think it's going to be one of those night and day things. It's not going to be the old night and day thing where you take your hard drive out, put in an SSD, you turn on your computer and it's like, wow, my PC is much better. A tangible, noticeable upgrade. Those are the things we want. Captain White says, didn't you get an invite to the UK Tech Tubers PC build-off thing? I saw PC centric in the ad. I noticed that actually, that was from eBuyer, the Intel bake-off basically, PC bake-off. No, I didn't get an invite to that. I'm probably not the person that they would want, especially seeing as they are all probably building DDR5 systems with Intel processors. Gertz 1987 says, Black Friday, I'm hoping to get a 5600 and a 1TB NVMe on offer. I think that's a pretty much safe bet that there'll be offers on both of those things. What else have we missed? Rick H says, horsepower costs money? Certainly does. It does get to the point though where it's that diminishing returns thing. I know I keep on harping on about it, but it's still that thing. It is, there comes a point where there's a curve, performance for money. And you get to a certain point where the curve basically tails off, the money goes up, the performance doesn't. And that is where I get to the thing, I'm out, I'm not interested. David Andrew says, I paid $339 for my 5600G, now $159, bargain. They have come down in price massively. Sorry, I was reading Kieran's in there about the PC cooler fans with the Gamemax ARGB PSU. Yeah, they are a little bit on the noisy side. Welly Bob says, I want a 2TB NVMe Gen 4 for 99 quid. You never know, you might get it. If the Kingston NVMe, the NV2 drives come down much more, because they were almost at 50 quid a terabyte. So it wouldn't be that out of the realms of possibility for a 2TB to hit £99. If it does, I think people should be snapping those up. I definitely will. Right, I think that's going to be pretty much it. I think we've covered everything. I could go on for another couple of hours, but I don't think there's any point. Captain White just said there, I reckon the MV2 is going to come back to about 60 quid per terabyte. I think it will do. It did. It has been there before. Very, very strong chance it's going to happen again. And again, I was very pleased with the MV2 drives. They worked very well, seemed very usable. Didn't have the fastest read or write speeds, but realistically, who cares about read and write speeds? It's essentially all about the experience, and if you transfer a boatload of files, does the cache fill up and does it become unusable? If not, then you're on to a winner. And it definitely seems to be there. So, I think that's going to wrap things up. Thank you all for spending your Saturday evening with us, or morning, or whenever it is in your area of the world. If you're watching this as a video replay, then hopefully there'll be some information at the bottom in the comment section saying about if I have any reply from Gamemax about the controller on that case. I'm interested to find out what the deal is with that. That is a little bit concerning. If it turns out that the test prongs don't have any voltage and they're literally just a ground to ground, which to be honest with you I doubt, but you never know, potentially it could be. It isn't an issue, but certainly I think it is something that needs to be addressed at least. So we'll find out hopefully in the coming days. I'll keep it updated. Thank you all for taking part tonight. Thank you all for the super chats. You're all absolutely wonderful, lovely people. Despite what it says about you all in the toilet, I don't listen or read any of that stuff, and I don't believe a word of it. So with that said, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next stream. Thanks for watching. And I have to go back to this thing. I should have an automated button or a producer to press it. Anyway, night all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.